What's good, family? Shout out to my doggy, Johnny Boy Wilson, for sending through that much needed coin right now. You man know IB's MOT failed, he going all the way through it, no doubt. Anyway, as you've seen by the title, we got some breaking news right now regarding your man's Anthony Zest. Anthony, big fluffy, barely having ass, Boogaloo the bear, Johnston. Now, James Ali Bashir is a cat. I think I may have even mentioned his name when it came to trainers in the run-ins, or trainers who should be in the run-ins. Now, I can't lie to you. The only man I know for sure who can get this done is the YB. That's the bottom line, yeah? Because what we do know is, if you look at James Ali Bashir's record, for example, he hasn't got a very good track record of training vicious fighters, yeah? When, for example, his most recent biggest fight was a cat called, or Clarissa Shields, a female, fought some chick called Christina Hammer. Now, Christina Hammer, she had great attributes, a wicked jab, wicked right hand, and she just looked soft in there. She didn't really want it. Oops. And Vladimir Klitschko, his whole career, he's never been vicious either. Now, again, for you man who don't know, James Ali Bashir was pivotal, working under or alongside, obviously the main man's Kronk, Emmanuel Stewart, with Klitschko, and also the key reason I believe he's been hired is because he has a lot of experience training Alexander Usyk, as you've seen by the photos. So like I said initially, well, as far as alleged well-known boxing trainers go, James Ali Bashir having that alleged Kronk or Manny Stewart influence, I mean, again, as far as names goes, it's not a bad look. However, why I'm asking some sort of questions is because I find it odd that AJ came out, as you all heard, about 2 weeks ago and said, I'm working with Fernando Alonso, Angel Fernandez, and we love our camp, we super zesty, and I get to do loads of stuff on the DL with him on the weekends. Yeah? So AJ came out and said he was with Fernando Alonso. Now we see pictures leaked of James Ali Bashir, who has actually recently commented saying he was getting some emails and some contact from Team AJ, whether he's going to come into the camp. So where I'm going with this is to say, to what extent is James Ali Bashir going to be in the camp? I believe he's going to be hired as another sideman. AJ consistently over the last few months has been saying things like, oh yeah, I want to make a wicked team. Yeah, it's like I'm like Marvel Avengers. I want to bring all the team together. Rather than saying, and Shane McGuigan, even though me and him have fell out somewhat after his bummy ass performance of Lawrence Hug Coley, the things he said in the past are correct. And that was that AJ needs to commit to one trainer. And that's that. And to be honest, as useless as Angel Fernandez is, there's no doubt about that. Angel Fernandez is useless as a trainer. He'd been there 3 months or 3 years or whatever. And AJ's got progressively worse. We've never seen AJ as bad as he is now since Fernando been in the camp. Oops. Yeah, and I'm not saying, we know Rob McCrappen also useless, but the point is, you've been in there having some sort of influence for 3 years. I wouldn't be there. I'd tell you, listen, if it's not going to go, it just can't work. People should know, unless you're there just to hang around for coin, I believe Fernando there to hang around for coin. And from what I'm hearing regarding this James Ali Bashir situation, in as much as, like I said, if Angel Fernandez is heading the camp, what capacity is James Ali Bashir going to have in there? I believe he's just going to be there tickling the nuts. You know what I mean? I believe he's going to be in some sort of sideman role, where he just posted up, just giving pointers. AJ does not need pointers. If anything's clear from his performances or the deterioration of his state of play over the last few years, he don't need no pointers. He need full bottom line overhaul. Yeah, he needs a proper leader in there. Not, well, I'm going to bring AJ seems fascinated with creating this team. I mean, we hear it so often today in these social media sports people. Oh, my team. Yeah, I've made a wicked team. My name. Yeah, we're looking to start in the next Marvel movie. Yeah, team. Yeah, well, having more isn't better. People become fascinated with it. Yeah, well, if I have 10 trainers,
and take a little bit from each. It doesn't work like that, as AJ's proven. He just looked confused. Yeah, and the best example right now, look at what the best have done historically and or now. Who the best fighter right now in the world? Canelo Alvarez. How many man do you hear him with? Do you see him roll back a man? One for this one for that one for this one for that one? No. Look at Mike Tyson in his prime. Did he have a whole bag of man? And the only reason it wasn't just Cuss and Mike was because at that point in time, Cuss was 70-year-old and couldn't move. Yeah, the only reason Teddy Atlas and or Kevin Rooney got a look in with Mike was because Cuss was too old to do the practical things. If Cuss was 40 years old, then man wouldn't have been there. It'd have been pure Cuss and pure Mike. And that's, if you listen to Mike Tyson, he really has shown us he's shown the extreme levels of psychological conditioning. It's taken Mike Tyson 30 years later on to kind of think back about how he was. Yeah, I believe Cus D'Amato groomed Mike Tyson, and he admits it. He said, I was groomed and he got me into a true kind of half-warrior mind state. And I believe that's the kind of thing you do need. You need to be groomed. You need to be turned into a vicious machine. And you can't be groomed when you got 10 man in the camp. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm sure I'm sure Fernando do be doing some grooming, but it's not zesty grooming. Yeah, I'm sure on the DL, AJ and Fernandez do some super duper grooming together. But as far as boxing goes, we don't need another side man. And the thing is, I understand James Ali Bashir is at the end of his career. I don't know how much money he's made in the sport. I know Manuel Strude made a whole bunch of money, but given that James Ali Bashir wasn't the main man in Klitschko's camp, I don't know, maybe he was. But from what I understand, he was like the support don. So I don't know how much money he's made. So with that in mind, I'd never say to someone, if you want to make some extra coin for your retirement, then do that. But I just feel like, at what point do you say, listen, AJ, I'm the one who's trained? Because I like listening to James Ali Bashir. He's got videos. If you go and check out the channel, BWTM Sports Ingram. Now, obviously Ingram, he made an awful call. Ingram been hating on AJ for a minute, but anyway, that's the channel you go on. He got all the James Ali Bashir leaks, and so I like James Ali Bashir for his opinion for most things. But I find it kind of contradictory that James Ali Bashir was saying for the last year or so, when AJ's been looking for a trainer, he'd been saying, yeah, AJ need to come to me because I'm the man who knows about Usyk, which he does. Yeah, James Ali Bashir trained Usyk for a few years. Arguably, I think the best run of Usyk's career was done under James Ali Bashir. Now, I'm not sure what, they kind of split up under weird circumstances. But either way, so James Ali Bashir's been selling it publicly, saying, I'm the number one man. I'm the man you need in your camp to beat Usyk. I know secret things about Usyk, which is fair enough. But it begs the question, if you know all these things and you're the man, and again, maybe I'm wrong. If it comes out, that AJ sacked off Fernandez, I'm going to say, listen, fair play to James Ali Bashir, and I wish him all the best. Still, the question's out. Still, the jury will be out whether or not he can get his fighter ferocious, because Christina Hammer was soft. She went in it and she was happy to lose against Shields. Actually, I didn't put any coin on it, but if I was I was that gassed, and at the time I wasn't gambling, but it was one of them ones for me. I thought there's no way Christina Hammer had beautiful jab, beautiful right hand. There's no way if she has any ambition, she's going to beat Shields. She went in there with zero ambition. I mean, we've seen Klitschko in there. Klitschko, when he was fighting Tyson Fury, had zero ambition. So James Ali Bashir, can he? I mean, the one thing AJ needs right now is ambition. Who the only guy we know got that? The YB. Yeah, all these other funny style trainers. I mean, look at Shane McGuigan. Oops. Yeah, I was here gassing Shane McGuigan up. How much ambition did Lawrence Hug Coley have against Eurobum? None. These guys come in to play way too many games. I'm telling them, I'm saying you now. Simple as that. We're totally ferocious. No messing about. No hugging. So all these so-called, I'm a boxing trainer and this, that, the other. And I wouldn't mind, but for me, it's the fact that you don't see these trainers seem more bothered about their coin. For example, yeah? They're all bothered about their coin or maintaining the status quo with their athlete. I'm telling you now, if I'm training an athlete, yeah, and he puts on a stinker, and that's the thing, it's important to set the parameters of your relationship. I want everyone to know. You might know me, I hold myself to the same standard. In as much as no one can tell me nothing about myself. I know it all. I'm a bum. As far, do you know what I'm saying? A license NO.1. And with that in mind, I expect to be held to the same standard. If you see me in the ring, yeah, and I'm hugging someone, I expect everyone. I tell you, that's the thing. You wouldn't need to tell me. I tell you. I tell you, my ass went and I flapped, and I ended up hugging him the whole fight. But yeah, it seems odd to me that, guess what? Your man's Shane McGuigan, for example, who's meant to be objective, and he seems to be quite objective with other fighters, all of a sudden, Lawrence Hug Coley puts on a massive whopper of a performance, and all you see him doing, or Shane McGuigan, yeah, he was kind of, oh, yeah, well, it could have been better, and you got to remember, giving it that old school line of, oh, you know, it could be better, but he's still learning. He's only had to. I'm sick of hearing about world champions learning. I really am, especially when the level of the school or the level of these athletes. You're world champion now, and you've been doing it for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years. How many more years? How many more world championships you got to win to not be learning? And this thing is, most of these mistakes, most of these problems, they're not learning mistakes. As in, how difficult is it? Lawrence Hug Coley didn't throw one inside shot the whole fight. I didn't see him whip one uppercut. I didn't see him whip one hook. I didn't see him look to engage not once on the inside. His whole strategy was based around clinching and then trying to throw a sloppy right hand. That's not learning. That is, I don't know what it is. It wasn't even boxing, for example. And when people put them kind of performances on, the public must know what went wrong. Not, well, he's still learning. That's not good enough for me. And the same thing with James Ali Bashir. These guys, it's almost like they just want to make sure the coin is locked in. Make sure they can continue working with the fighter or whatever. That's what comes first, over and above the actual performance. AJ should have been told. Well, what AJ needs right now, yeah, is to be sat down and be clear. Listen, AJ, I ain't here for no money. If you ain't going to perform, if you ain't going to be on it, then we don't need to work together. I feel like, in this circumstance, James Ali Bashir is coming along just to get a bit of a check, assuming he hasn't got full control of the camp, if you get what I'm saying. Now, maybe it will come out that AJ's got rid of Fernandez and it's going to be James Ali Bashir. That, for me, would be the best bet. The best bet, as far as conventional coaches go, would be AJ, because Fernando's proven nothing, and he just no good. No good, no good at all. Not even a bit of a good, not even a little bit of goodness. So, technically speaking, if AJ can get to some sort of technical victory, then James Ali Bashir, who allegedly knows all these secrets about Usyk, but the thing is, even with that, this whole narrative of, oh, but YB, James Ali Bashir trained Usyk and he got all the, and James Ali Bashir himself has said he's got the secrets. My whole thing is, and I've been saying this from the jump, long before AJ lost to Usyk, I said, I don't care what he's doing. That's the truth. The specimen, or the specimen that AJ was, yeah, or the specimen that AJ should be, shouldn't matter what Usyk's doing. That's the oops. Yeah? When you're a wrecking ball, everyone else, Usyk should be worrying about what we're doing. Not, well, I need these secrets. There ain't no secrets. There's no secret. Look at Alvarez, for example, again. And I use Alvarez because how many people has Alvarez fought who got all these secrets? Yeah, Billy Joe Saunders got all these secrets, and oh, look at Caleb Plant got all these secrets, and this, that, the other, and they got all these secrets. Guess what happens when secrets meets big, heavy shots and tight defense? Gets popped. Oops. Yeah, now you can talk about, oh, but YB, what about Floyd Mayweather? Let's see it now. That's what I want to see. It's no good saying when Floyd Mayweather fought a 20-year-old Canelo. Let's see Floyd. If Floyd that tricky, yeah, let's see Mr. Tricky Floyd right now in there. And if he does it, fair play to him. And I'm sorry, but Usyk ain't no Floyd anyway. Yeah? Floyd could light people up and be in range. Usyk he ain't really do much, if the truth be known, in my opinion. But anyway, for me, Usyk isn't a Floyd. Floyd another level, in my opinion. But anyway, it's irrelevant. Usyk, he's skillful, but for me, he's straight up and down skillful. Ain't nothing too. I believe if you can perform, as a heavyweight like AJ who's explosive, if you can perform, if you can put on a Canelo-like performance, tight guard, cutting the ring off, putting one or two heavy shots together, I don't believe Usyk can have any answers for that. Or I don't believe you lose the fight. Case in point, look at what happened with the Chisora fight. With Chisora plodded forward. We know Chisora's super basic as well. Chisora plodded forward and Usyk looked like a drowned rat in there. That's the truth of it. He looked average in there. And then AJ went in there and did the opposite of what Chisora laid the blueprint for. Don't forget, people, AJ's supposed to be the A-star version of Chisora kind of thing. He's supposed to be on that Canelo kind of par, that Canelo kind of level in it, isn't he? Let's be real now. In terms of his attributes, there's no reason AJ shouldn't be able to put on a heavyweight version of Canelo Alvarez. And if he does that, I don't care about but we've got the magical secrets. So that's what worries me about, even about, that's what I tell you, even about James Ali Bashir, the guy who trained with Klitschko and the guy that trained with Usyk, all these guys, none of them have been aggressive. None of them have been straight talking. They've all been wafflers. So even with James Ali Bashir, I'm sceptical, truth be known, because none of these guys are saying the things I want to hear. And to be honest, in fact, as far as conventional coaches go, I actually think, and people might laugh, but I actually think on his job, I think Tunde Ajayi would be the best bet actually. Why? Because guess what? If Tunde Ajayi trains AJ the same way he trained Anthony Yarde in his last fight, that's what's needed, I believe. You need someone to gas you up, and I think Tunde's team as well. Yeah, sometimes they go a bit too OTT with it, but I think that new trainer they've brought in anyway, I think that might be a good balance. Because AJ right now need to be gassed, and he need to be somehow he need to understand that he's going to have to sacrifice some brain cells. That must be anyone who trains AJ for this rematch, it must be clear. AJ must be told, AJ, after the Klitschko fight, yeah, AJ sat down with Rob McCracken and told him, listen, Rob, that fight was kind of hard and I don't really want to get stuck in no more. Anyone who's training AJ, I feel like AJ's been surrounded by snake oil salesmen who have told him, yeah, no, of course, yeah, we've got this special strategy from, and AJ himself even let it slip. AJ said, yeah, well, I'm working with this guy and his name's, I've got the Don's name now, but I'm working with this guy and he's developed this special strategy from the 70s and it puts all these special things to, what? You've been gassed up. You've been told that, there's some special secret thing we can do where you can not get hit and you can make millions of dollars and you can knock everyone out. That don't exist. Even Mike Tyson in his prime gets hit. Go back and watch Canelo. He gets hit. When you want to be an aggressive, when you're a come forward fighter, because you're not a Floyd Mayweather, as in AJ, you do not have the IQ to win fights all super slick, as you've proven now, because you got your head boxed off by a middleweight. So just forget about that. You went smart like that. Obviously, all your man fans think you are. I'm telling you, you went. And someone else needs to tell you that. You're not super intelligent in the ring. Yeah? That's the bottom line. And if no one and the thing is, everyone around him ain't telling him that. Everyone telling him, oh yeah, of course AJ, you can be the next Floyd at heavyweight. You don't even have a gas tank. What's wrong? Who are the people around him? You don't even have 3 rounds of gas. What makes you think you're going to be able to do all these slick IQ things? What you need to worry about, have a full tank of gas, your defense nice and tight, you plod forward, and you bang away with heavy, vicious, accurate shots. That's it. Not no secret. And that's, you got James Ali Bashir. I got the secret thing. I know the secret. What secrets? What secrets are there of a big man who's explosive fighting a small middleweight who didn't have no power at middleweight? That's the truth. Usyk's never hurt no one at his actual weights. So what do you mean you got a secret? So all these guys that are around him now, I believe they're all just collecting coin, and fair play to them. But I find it funny that, YB, who do you think you are? Yeah, this guy's this guy, this guy's that guy. All them guys are lying to you. I never lied to you. I never lied to you about myself. I never lied to you about someone else. If you put on a whopper of a performance, I'm like, what are we supposed to do here? And that I believe that needs to be made clear at the start. Someone needs to sit down with AJ and say, listen, let's be clear now. If you put a whopper on, I'm going to tell you and I'm going to tell the public it was a whopper. Let's not make no, I hope the fans are really happy that I lost in front of my home fans. I mean, I got another video coming soon. For the UFC people, UFC London came to town. And in fact, AJ was ironically enough, AJ was in the crowd of UFC London this weekend. And watch Molly McCann's performance. In fact, watch any of them ones. Watch any of them UK fighters. But in particular, Molly McCann. Molly McCann went in there, and that's how you perform in front of your hometown. AJ, no word of a lie. After AJ lost here, AJ said, I put on a great performance and I hope everyone enjoyed it. Who's around AJ, yeah? I swear to God, if I was there, I'd have told him, listen, you best apologise to the public, because you sucked tonight. And number one, you lost. Let's start there. When you lose, yeah, there's nothing good about losing. Who's been around this guy? No, YB, no, but YB, it was good. I don't care if it was close. You're fighting a dude half your size. Losing this don't come into it. I hope the fans are happy that I lost in front of all my home fans. It's mad. And AJ was actually smiling about it. He was like, yeah, well, I put on a great performance and I can't wait to get back to the gym and I hope the fans are really happy with that. Happy with what the But it shows you the people around him, yeah, all backslappers. Well, I bet when AJ came out of the ring after against Usyk, they were saying, oh, yeah, champ, yeah, this, it was really good, and yeah, you was winning. All you got to do is, I mean, we've heard AJ. AJ in the last few weeks has come out and said, well, I've watched the fight back and I won 5 rounds, so I've only got to win 1 more and then get Eddie to pay a judge to buy the other round, and that'll be 7. That's his attitude. Wait there a minute. That was disgraceful. How far have I fallen that I've gone from knocking people out and wanting to knock people out to now justifying how I can nick 7 rounds against a man half my size who was never explosive, who D-level Chisora went 50-50 with. No matter what you say about Usyk versus Chisora, that was a 50-50 fight. And Chisora's no good. So it's mad. Chisora lost to Usyk much better than AJ did. Chisora never looked rocked. Chisora was, I think there's an argument you won the fight to be quite honest. Chisora had Usyk backing up the whole night. So why can't you do that? But all these things never came into the equation. Oh, it was a great performance and I hope the fans are happy and no shame. And this shows you the environment that's been built. Now I'm telling you, do I think James Ali Bashir can prick that bubble? I don't. And the fact that he's going in there, from what I understand, and he's going in there alongside Angel Fernandez, says all you need to know. Yeah, he's going to be another sit there, and yeah, of course, James Ali Bashir, of course, he's going to give his best advice, but it's not enough. I believe we're past that stage of people giving advice. AJ don't need no more advice. He needs sitting down and he needs some cold, hard truths. That's what he needs, and he needs it consistently, and he needs it concentrated. That's all he needs. Yeah, no win. In fact, I told you before, never mind no win, no fee. No KO, no fee. If we don't knock Usyk out, I ain't interested in being in this game. That's my opinion. If AJ can't knock Usyk out, there's nothing. We got nothing else to be said here. Because I believe if you took Canelo to heavyweight, not obviously in the frame he is, it's a much closer fight. But if you could replicate a heavyweight Canelo, Usyk gets stopped. That's my opinion. I don't believe I just don't think he's all that. I just don't. I'm sorry. I just don't see it myself. I think he's decent for what's around right now, but he's still straight up and down, in my opinion. And we see what happens to all of these so-called slick dudes when they get a good crack from someone who's a super athlete. Yeah, because all these slick dudes, Caleb Plant, Billy Joe, they get cracked, and all of a sudden all that magicness just goes flying out the window. And I believe that's what should happen if AJ trained properly. But with all these guys, and the fact that AJ's brought Ali Bashir in, shows again to me that he's still trying to nick some. Oh well, I'm going to bring this guy in, and he's got the secrets, and he's going to show me the secrets. There's no one's told AJ. There's nothing. Nothing's going to make this easy for you. And I believe for £30 million and all the upside as well, don't forget, if AJ wins this fight, it opens up a $100 million payday for hundreds of millions of dollars, yeah, I don't think there's nothing wrong with sacrificing a few brain cells. And the worst thing is, he ends up sacrificing them anyway. Because look at that last Usyk fight, he ended up being knocked out. And that's what happens. When you go in there trying to be, there's an old saying, I mean it is a bit cliche, but the best defense is offense. When you go in there, yeah, and you're nervous and scared, you end up, your defense is off, and you end up more of a victim anyway. So all this worrying, for the last 5 years, AJ's and his whole team has been worrying about, oh well, we need longevity. AJ, look at Canelo. He don't take he takes shots, but he don't take a whole bunch of shots. He don't take a whole bunch of damage. So this whole narrative of, oh well, we need longevity in the game. AJ himself said, oh well, I wanted longevity in the game, so I knew how to change my style. Well, all you've done now is turn yourself into a victim. Now you're getting beat by everyone. Now you're getting nearly knocked out by a middleweight. Now you got popped by Mr. Blobby. So this whole, I've never believed the narrative of, oh well, don't get me wrong, certain fighters Certain fighters, like, for example, Paulie Malignaggi. If Paulie Malignaggi had started his career trying to be a brawler, I'd have told him, listen, if you want any longevity, you ain't got no power, and you need to be a boxer. But when you're an explosive athlete, you've got to double down on them skills. You've got to. You just got to. And especially at heavyweight, because look at Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury is someone I would have told, listen, you best learn how to be slick, because you don't have the attributes to be powerful if you want longevity in this game. But Fury's proven that at heavyweight, you don't even have to be at heavyweight, especially in this era, which is weak in my opinion. You don't even have to be that. You don't even have to be that naturally gifted. You can just be big, and because of the current crop, which is so weak, you could Tyson Fury looking like Mike Tyson 2.0 these days, which makes it an even more of a mockery of what's going on with AJ right now. How is Mr. Explosive got all the attributes and he don't want to use it? We saw AJ throw 2 uppercuts in the whole fight against Usyk. I didn't see him throw any hooks. What's going on? Canelo's main shot is the left hook. That must be built into any strategy. I want the left hook going. I want big right uppercuts going. I want big right hooks going. If I was training AJ, I'll be training him to jab and lick the right hook, jab and lick the uppercut. Just drive it forward. And if you watch AJ versus Parker, that's how this fight should be going. And then with the inside stuff later on, AJ backed Parker all around the ring with a jab. He was marching forward with it. He was committing with it. You didn't see AJ commit with a jab, not once in the whole Usyk fight. AJ trying to do this nicky jab where he kind of got you, yeah. Because that's what you call a scared jab. A scared jab is when you try and touch it and then it's almost like watch what Tyson Fury used to do. Tyson Fury would flick it and then move off. There's no commitment there. You're not scoring. You're scoring points, but you're not doing no damage. You're just nicking points. It's making it awkward. And that's why Usyk, not being funny, AJ, if 10 year was max aggression, in the 7th round or the 6th round, AJ put about, if 5 years average aggression, AJ the whole fight was below average aggression. He was like 2 or 3. In the 6th or 7th round, he increased his aggression to about average, and he put off a few uppercuts, and all of a sudden Usyk started backing up. And that was for about 30 seconds in the 6th or 7th round. And I remember at the time going mad saying, yeah, this is it. The tide's about to turn. Next thing we know, I don't know what happened, but that game plan completely threw out the window. And the thing is, we've seen this with Usyk against Chisora. The same thing happened. Whenever Chisora put it on him, all of a sudden Usyk looked like a fish out of water. And that's how it's supposed to look. Watch Canelo versus Plant or Billy Joe. When they start getting digged, and it's meant to be shocking. That's what happens. When you're in a super athlete, it is shocking. The power is shocking. I spoke to someone the other day who said, about a couple of years ago, and he said to me that when he spars this certain guy, the power's just shocking. That's what's supposed to happen. That's what these super athletes are supposed to do. They've got shocking attributes that you haven't felt before. But what's the point of having that and you ain't using it? Because you've got all these trainers around you gassing you up that, oh yeah, don't worry, we can make hundreds of millions and we can win all these fights and not take no risk. Nowhere in life, do you get big rewards without no risk. That's the standard. And the fact is, your skills were sloppy back in 2017 when you fought Vlad. Sloppy skills, sloppy defense. You're still sloppy. Because your trainers don't even know what they're doing. Your trainers can't even get the basics right. And they're trying to sell you about some magic plan from the 70s. My name's Joby Clayton. And I've got some special plan. You ain't even got solid fundamentals. If I was training AJ, I'd sit him down and say, listen, before we worry about Joby Clayton's magic plan, before we worry about Fernando Alonso's magic special thing, let's get the fucking basics right, shall we? Let's get your defense tight. Before we do anything else, I want to make sure AJ can catch shots. Let's start there, shall we? Elbows nice and tight, chin down. Watch what's coming and catch it. If you ain't doing that, I've done videos before. AJ's defense, his elbow is wide in the air. He's swaying like a big tree. Extremely poor basics. Extremely poor. I was saying the other day, look at Amir Khan. Amir Khan, in there with Kell Brook, the reason he didn't get chinned was because he'd learned finally Amir Khan, after about 20 years, Amir Khan had learned how to actually defend himself. And this shows you, this is why I don't believe in all this, oh well, you need a YB, who do you think you are? Look at all these trainers. All these trainers had Amir Khan chin spark out for God knows how many years. All of a sudden, Amir Khan teamed up with Crawford's team. Now, Crawford's another guy. Watch Crawford against Porter. Crawford's got that defense I talk about. Yeah, his elbows go right in, his chin comes right down, and his hands are right there. It's almost impossible to pop. And even Amir Khan, who's got no chin, when he used that defense, all of a sudden he can't be chinned. What are these guys doing? Oh, YB, who do you think you are, mate? AJ got all these special trainers, and how'd that work out for you? Your booty gets popped. Yeah? So anyway, like I said, you see in the news, James Ali Bashir, meant to be the next big thing, and he trained this guy, he trained that guy. We're going to find out though, because again, I've seen him with all these other guys. Yeah, he trained Hammer, and Hammer was useless. Hammer had no ambition and had no spite. And I think that it's going to be another one of them ones. And I think that AJ's trying to make this Marvel Avengers team again. Yeah? Who are going to come in, and it's all going to be confused, and I mean, Fernandez has proved nothing in his career. And that's why I talk about Tunde, because at least Tunde Ajayi, I'm not sure. I mean, Anthony Yard's gas tank was pants in that last fight against Kovalev, but maybe things have changed since then. But as far as, I'd rather see AJ be aggressive for 6 rounds and just fall apart. I'd rather see it, if AJ can go in there for 6 rounds, give it his best and gas out, at least he lost true to himself. Yeah? Yeah, of course I'll come on here and I'll go in about having no cardio, because I don't believe you should have no cardio. Oops. I don't believe it. Oh, YB, no. AJ had no cardio, and he wasn't even being explosive. AJ literally nearly fell over in the 12th round against Usyk, and he hadn't done anything the whole fight. So again, YB, Joby Clayton and Angel Fernandez have got all these special plans, but you got no cardio. How are you not covering the basics? All these special plans you've got, but no gas tank to use them with. All these special plans you've got, but no defense to not get you chinned with. And this shows you that AJ, and that's why I tell you, AJ's low IQ. Not just in the ring. In general, AJ's low IQ. Because people these days, yeah, they fall for scams. They're told things like, oh, I can give me £100 and I'm going to give you 10 grand. Like, who does that? But people do. That's how these Ponzi schemes exist. And that's how you know AJ's low IQ. Because if AJ had any intelligence, he'd say, wait there a minute, Fernandez. Wait there a minute, Joby Clayton. If you, man, have all these special strategies, where's all your resume? And this is the thing. You're not supposed... I don't know who's around AJ. Again, Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn's supposed to be really smart. AJ's management team are supposed to be really smart. But these cats, yeah, these snake oil salesmen, like Joby Clayton, like Angel Fernandez, they're supposed to experiment and flop on the random bums in boxing. They're not supposed to go. You're not supposed to go from no resume and pure snake oil salesman to the number 1 fighter in the country and or the world. How did that happen? Who's around AJ? Who's advising him? If I was around AJ, I told him, listen, AJ, if they've got such magical skills, why did O'Hara Davis leave Mr. Magical Fernandez? Oops. Yeah? All these magical skills, but no resume. Because the thing is, YB, who do you think you are? Well, listen, of all the things I've told you, you've never heard me talk about I've got no special plan. I've always told you, listen, my plan's super simple, actually, oops, yeah? All these, Joby Clayton got a special thing, he got a special, all these snake oil, I told you straight, and that's the thing, I ain't gonna lie to no one. I'll tell AJ, listen, your fights are probably gonna end up hard work. Because that's what happens when you're making $50 million. I suggest, if you don't enjoy making $50 million, you don't want to work hard, yeah? It should be accepted, okay, I'm making $50 million tonight, so I must accept it's going to be a little hard. That's off the jump, that's off the rip. Yeah? You're going to get hit tonight. That's off the rip. Please don't think you're going to go into this fight against Fury or against Usyk and not get hit. You're going to get hit. But our principle is that whenever we get hit, we're going to give him back at least once. And in our shot, we're going to double down on ourselves and be sure that we may take a shot, but the 1 or 2 shots we give back are going to have him so short. How many times have we seen it in boxing, yeah, where people put a shot out, get countered, and all of a sudden they don't want to, you know what I mean? They're not really interested in doing that anymore. That's the textbook's boxing. Yeah, Canelo does it all the time. Counter the shots, and all of a sudden, them guys start throwing that shot. Every time he throws a right hand, I'm going to bang a left hook. And all of a sudden, he ain't throwing a right hand no more, because he knows what's coming next. That's how you're supposed to turn off these guys, these pity-patty guys. You're supposed to say, okay, Usyk going to be jabbing. Every time we jabbing, I'm going to slip and do this, and bang, slip and bang. And all of a sudden, Usyk, you ain't going to want to jab no more, because you know what coming. Big heavy shot, big heavy arm-piercing shot. But oh no, Mr. Low IQ AJ want to be sold the magic, the snake oils. So let him keep doing the snake oils, because this is the facts. The facts are, all these people, James Ali Bashir, Joby Clayton, and whoever else, all of them have said they've got a special plan, and they got secrets. I ain't selling no secrets. That's just what it is. I'm selling hard work, I'm selling viciousness, and I'm selling take one to give two. That's it. Yeah? There ain't no, and this is the game you're in. There's no one don't get hit in the game. You're meant to love it. You're meant to, look at Canelo, he love it. Canelo going up 3 weight classes. He making his life harder. You have been handed a cherry, i.e. fighting someone smaller. Imagine, for example, Canelo getting to fight, imagine someone coming up 2-3 weight divisions to fight Canelo. He'd be rock hard for it. So AJ's been handed a cherry. Meanwhile, Alvarez is going up 2, 3, 4 weight divisions to fight the big bad guys up there. That shows you the difference in mindset. Canelo can't wait to get hit by someone heavier. Canelo's actually intrigued to see the extent of his skills. He's intrigued to see, wait there, how much can my chin take? Yeah? How hard can things... I don't care what no one says. The fact that Canelo, is willing to test himself against Bivol and Beterbiev shows that he's actually willing to see where his limits are. And the fact he's even talking about cruiserweight, it's almost like he wants to see, wait a minute, I want to see where my level is. I want to see where I actually start getting... I actually want to see where my attributes level out. Where will I be chinned? That's almost... I feel like this pursuit from Alvarez, that's almost the question. How much can my chin take? Yeah? A man from 160 going up to 200 pounds, that's literally what you must be asking. Alvarez is literally questioning the level of his... the level of his person. And that's admirable. AJ gets handed a man smaller than him, and he's nervous. And he's still trying to buy some snake oil. Oh, I've got this special thing. I tell you no special thing. I tell you hard work. Yeah? I tell you viciousness. I tell you march forward. I tell you take one. You get your chin down as well whilst you do it. And slap back every time. Every time you see it come in, slap. Yeah? Simple. That's what you got to do. Big left hook every time. Left hook going. Yeah? No doubt.